It's hard to believe that after a decade of cruising in Southeast Asia, we still hadn't visited Bali, a tourist epicentre and most westerly of the Lesser Sunda Islands. As we headed west, we dropped into a couple of anchorages, barely scratching the surface, but long enough to gain an appreciation of why this island is so popular. Bali is quite different to its neighbour Lombok. Not only is it more developed, it's predominantly Hindu, evident by the architecture and the many temples that dot the hillsides.
Lombok and Bali are two very different islands, and the first thing that we noticed when we dropped the hook at anchor yesterday was the beach life. Rather than hearing the calls to prayer, it's people worshipping Bob Marley and Manu Chao from beachside restaurants. Lots of flashing lights and fire throwing, and just generally a lot more lively, a lot more vibrant, a lot more activity. Lombok is perhaps a little bit more sleepy.
The great thing about Bali's tourism for a cruiser is that provisioning is easy. We took a couple of jerry cans ashore by kayak, where taxi drivers instantly made themselves available to take Jamie to the closest fuel station.
Well, we're here already, and it's a busy petrol station. You see the queue of scooters, which is quite normal first thing in the morning.
Other treats included finding supermarkets that sold products we hadn't seen in years, simple things like onion, pickle and European cheeses. And there are plenty of tourist shops and markets to pick up wood carvings and handmade jewellery. All of this may sound trivial, but we hadn't seen these kinds of sights in a long time. Talking of not seeing things in a long time...
Well, Liz and I have come ashore for a bite to eat, and we have a guest with us. I think it's probably going to be worth us doing a whole video on all the random places we meet this guy, because this is now the third time we have seen him in Indonesia. And it is, of course, James Koo of Pancor Marina. Say hello, James.
Hello, how are you? Happy to see you guys here.
What do you think? Can we get rid of him?
No,
He's following us,
apparently not, because wherever we go, James is there. But it's always a joy.
Yes, James is wheeling and dealing in Bali this time. But I just thought I just wanted to quickly show you this beautiful restaurant. It is quite traditional. This is what you imagine when you think of Bali. These are the kind of places that we see. So there's the restaurant. There's our lovely waitress. Now I thought I was just going through to the toilets here. But look at this. Walk through the reception, and it turns out that you can actually stay here. Look at this. Swimming pool, gardens. Isn't this rather splendid, eh? And I guess these are the actual little cottages you can stay in. Yeah, very, very typically Balinese, I suppose. Anyway, we're going to go back and catch up with James and find out what deal he's brokering this time. The funny thing is, of course, is that we're actually heading back up to Malaysia, and we were hoping to see James back at Pancor Marina, which is where he is the manager of. And here we are with him here in Lavina.
Sadly, we only spent a few nights at Lavina, but Jamie was keen to move on, as he had been reading up on our next destination. This would take us across the top of Bali, so it was time to get some sailing in.
Can I ask you something? Are you wasting my time? You're 20-something, and I'm out of my mind. I'm feeling seasick every time that you leave. I hope you notice that these drugs ain't for free. like it like that.
Just tell me what happened with that fisherman just then.
So we had a little fisherman in front of us and he was madly waving his hat and pointing and getting a bit distracted. So it turns out that he had a line going forward with a flag on it and several floats behind. And we wouldn't have gone over his nets, but I think he was just worried that we didn't know what we were doing. And he just wanted to make sure we got out of the way. So we followed his instructions. We took a big detour to go around the whole thing, and he stayed right next to us to make sure we didn't go past.
What they've done is they both went to the end of their lines, and they're sitting there to sort of create a channel for us to motor through. Okay. Next morning, after a splendid night's sleep, we have just come over to the Sunset Beach Resort, and this is where the famous hot springs are. Unfortunately, I've got a little problem on my back, which Liz has been tending to, a medical emergency, which means I can't get in the water for a couple of days, but I'm hoping that we'll stay here for a couple of days because it is a rather splendid anchorage tucked up into the western side of Bali. It's a natural harbour. Behind me is the national park, so there are no buildings there, but the few resorts they have here, beautifully appointed. There's a couple of very posh resorts. One even has its own helipad, and we've seen a number of helicopters coming and going there as well. So we're surrounded by poshness, but most importantly it's the nature. And in fact, as we look out west, we can see one of Java's massive volcanoes in the far distance.
Banyuwedang quickly became one of Jamie's favourite anchorages in Indonesia, and I'm inclined to agree with him. With year-round protection, clean beaches and touches of familiar Western comforts, surrounded by natural beauty, you could easily spend an entire season at anchor in this one spot. To assist in provisioning and scooter hire, we were introduced to Danu, who was running his second term as chief of the district. The various initiatives that keep things ticking over are run by the villagers under the guidance of Danu, who explains the various projects here.
My name is Danu. I am the chief of the district, and also have a community who's manage the beach, and we also doing coral reef restoration program, and also we doing mangrove planting, and also every day we clean the beach. We have nice white sandy beach. So also we have nice bay. The bay we call Banyuwedang Bay or Banyuwedang Lagoon. Lagoon is boat line of West Bali National Park. Yeah, when yacht come here to anchoring in our bay, also we can organizing what they need, like water, petrol, and so on. What they need, we can organizing.
Danny, thank you very much. You've made us feel very welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah, we always welcome to any guests, any people come to our places.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama.
No, not terima kasih.
Suksema.
Suksemen.
Suksema.
Yes.
Suksema Muali.
Knowing that the next part of our journey was going to be taking us away from tourism and away from land altogether, we took this opportunity to make the most of the comforts on offer here. An obligatory scooter ride east across the top of Bali meant soaking up more of the beautiful countryside and beaches.
So Liz and I have rented a scooter for the day and we're just cruising along the north coast, and we're just trying to find a place to have a coffee. We've found somewhere, I don't know what it's like, and we came down to the beach, and the first thing we see is this poor boat, which I have just found out, having spoken to the local Coast Guard, who just happens to be sitting here. This is an Australian flag boat. I think it's called Dream Team, and it's been here now for 2 weeks. It sunk 2 weeks ago. But it's literally the first thing we saw when we got off the scooter, and I can't really explain it. I guess other boat owners will understand this sentiment. But when you see something like this, you get this very horrible, sick feeling in the stomach. I guess a feeling of there but for the grace of God, I suppose. But it's very sad to see, and it's clearly, it was a well kitted out boat with a wind generator, solar panels, similar size to Esper, I suppose, but yeah, very sad.
In the afternoon we took the scooter into the Bali National Park proper, where we climbed the lookout to take in views of the vast rainforest. Then, after Jamie's back healed, we treated ourselves to a day among beautiful gardens of the gorgeous Mimpi resort. I had a relaxing massage while Jamie dipped in the large swimming pool, and we both soaked ourselves in the hot springs. I can honestly say that by the time we left to continue on our travels, we were well and truly rested, and if ever we were to return to Bali, Banyuwedang would be at the top of our list of places to drop the anchor.